Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we try to cut through all the noise and give you a really clear picture of the big topics. Today, we're diving headfirst into Formula One. We're heading to Monza. Just imagine it, the roar of those engines, echoing through the park, the smell of rubber. It's just pure F1 thrill at the Temple of Speed. And the 2025 Italian Grand Prix, well, it feels like it's ready to write another big chapter in the history books. Our mission today is basically to give you the shortcut, everything you need to know, all the angles, the strategies, the stories going into this massive race. And we've got a brilliant source for this deep dive. It gives us a really fresh, almost like on-the-ground view.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. We're unpacking this guide from the F1 Blog's YouTube channel. And what's really unique is their team actually recorded this while they were driving to Monza on the road.
Yeah.
Part of their Pirelli Zero tour. Going from Valencia, they stopped in Monaco,
Yeah.
heading straight to Milan. So it's like getting insights almost live,
Exactly, like having someone feeding you the key info right from the scene. So think of this as your ultimate insider preview. Today, we're going to cover, well, quite a bit. Monza's history, its unique track layout. Then we'll look back at last year's race, remember that drama. After that, it's Pirelli tires, strategy, the weather forecast for this year, and then we'll go team by team. What's the story after Zandvoort? What are their chances at Monza? So yeah, buckle up. This is where it gets really interesting. Okay, let's start right at the heart of it. Monza itself. Our source points out this isn't just any race. Officially, it's the Formula One Pirelli Gran Premio d'Italia 2025. But beyond the name, it's a huge historical moment, right?
It really is remarkable. This is the 75th Italian Grand Prix. And think about this. It's one of the very, very few races that's been on the calendar every single year since the F1 Championship started back in 1950. 75 races. And 74 of those happened right here at the Autodromo Nazionale Monza. There was just one exception, a race held somewhere called NOLA, apparently. But 74 at Monza. That consistency, it just tells you how important this place is. It's like fundamental to F1.
74 races at one track. That's incredible. And it must mean there's a ton of data, a lot of history to look at. Our guide mentions the all-time leaders there. For pole positions, Lewis Hamilton's at the top, 7 poles.
Yeah, 7 poles.
Yeah.
Which kind of poetically matches his 7 championships. It's a neat parallel. But it says a lot about his mastery of Monza, doesn't it? Getting pole there is about threading the needle at insane speeds. Maybe it's his late braking or just confidence in that low downforce setup. Whatever it is, he's done it more than anyone. And behind him, you've got legends, Fangio, Senna, both with 5 poles.
Wow. Fangio and Senna.
Yeah. And then a whole group with 3 poles each. Jim Clark, John Surtees, Michael Schumacher, Juan Pablo Montoya, Sebastian Vettel. It's basically a list of F1 royalty. Tells you what it takes to conquer Monza qualifying, pure speed and serious nerve.
Okay, so getting pole is one thing, but converting it to a win, that seems like a different challenge at Monza, maybe. Why is race pace sometimes trickier there than qualifying? Hamilton and Schumacher seem to have figured it out, though. Our guide says Hamilton has 5 wins, tying with Schumacher for the most victories.
Yeah, 5 wins each. That's a phenomenal conversion rate. It really shows their dominance over a race distance there. See, Monza forces a compromise. Your qualifying setup might chew through tires in the race or lack grip when you need it. Hamilton and Schumacher, they consistently found that sweet spot. Blistering speed for pole, but also the tire management and strategy for the win. It's a tough balance. And look at the other winners with 3 wins each. Fangio, Moss, Peterson, Piquet, Barrichello, Prost, Vettel.
Another list of greats.
Exactly. It reinforces that Monza rewards drivers who can mix that raw speed with smart racing, managing tires, judging overtakes, defending hard on those long straights. It's not just about flooring it.
Right. Let's talk about the track itself from a driver's view. Our source mentions this kind of love-hate thing. People playing video games might think, oh, Monza, easy, flat out. But the reality, they say it's spectacular and actually more loved than hated by the drivers, which makes sense given the history and the sheer speed.
It's true, isn't it? A simulator just doesn't capture the G-forces, the bumps, the feeling of speed blurring past you. And it's funny, Monza, the temple of speed. You'd think overtaking would be easy. Long straights, DRS zones. But our source points out it can be surprisingly tough, especially with those DRS trains.
Ah, the DRS train where everyone gets DRS off the car in front.
Exactly. So nobody can really pull away or make a decisive move. It neutralizes the advantage. And that forces teams into tricky setup decisions. Do you trim all the wing off for straight-line speed but risk being unstable in the chicanes? Or do you keep a bit more wing for stability and hope you can find clean air somehow? It's a real balancing act. Brake performance is huge too, but traction out of the slow corners is just as vital. That's why pole feels so important there. Even with DRS, fighting through the pack can be a real slog.
So it's definitely not just point and shoot. The compromises are huge. Let's break down the key sections of the lap.
Okay, yeah. So you blast down the main straight, then slam on the brakes for the first variant, turns 1 and 2. That tight right-left chicane. Crucial for the start. Loads of action there usually. Then you power out into Curva Grande, which is turn 3, now called Curva del Vionone. It's this massive sweeping right-hander, almost flat out, huge commitment needed, lots of G-force. After that, another heavy braking zone into the Variante della Roggia, turns 4 and 5. Another key chicane, quick change of direction. And then you get to the Lesmos, right? Turn 6 and 7, those sound iconic.
They are Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2. Two challenging right-handers. Medium speed, they're quite technical. You can lose a lot of time if you're clumsy, or gain a lot if you get the throttle application just right. Needs a well-balanced car, maybe a touch more downforce feel than the straight suggests.
Gotcha. And after the Lesmos?
Then it's down another, straight into the Variante Ascari, turns 8, 9, and 10. This is a high-speed chicane sequence, left, right, left. Our source described it as very scary in person. Drivers take it incredibly fast, relying massively on aero grip and just sheer bravery. Precision is everything. A small mistake there, big consequences. And finally, you come to Parabolica, the last corner, turn 11, one of the most famous corners in all of F1.
The Parabolica, huge, long, sweeping right-hander.
Yeah, and it opens out onto the main straight, so your exit speed is absolutely critical for lap time and for setting up overtakes. Plus, they brought back the gravel trap on the exit recently, run just a little bit wide, and your race could be over right there. Adds that extra element of risk. Man, it really sounds like a track of contrasts. Insane straights, then these tight, demanding chicanes and sweeping high-commitment corners. That balance between low downforce for speed and needing grip for braking and traction, it's a massive test, not just a speed bowl at all. Talking about tests and drama, we should definitely revisit last year's race, the 2024 Italian Grand Prix. Our source called it epic, Charles Leclerc winning for Ferrari.
Oh, it absolutely was. I mean, for Leclerc, being from Monaco, winning there, and then winning at Monza for Ferrari in the same season, our source said it was almost like a perfect year. The emotion of that win for him, for the team, for the Tifosi packed in the stands must have been just incredible. It's the ultimate dream for a Ferrari driver.
And the race itself had a turning point right at the start, didn't it? The McLaren drivers, Piastri and Norris.
Yeah, that opening lap incident, Piastri made a really aggressive move on Norris, almost spun him out. Our source said it reminded them of Vettel's tangle back in 2018. That kind of first lap chaos, it just blew the race wide open.
And Leclerc pounced on that chance.
He did. And then he drove. Well, a strategic masterpiece. He went for a one-stop strategy, managed his tires brilliantly, made it work when McLaren opted for a two-stop. It was a gamble, but he executed it perfectly. Keeping the pace up while making those tires last under pressure, very impressive.
And McLaren tried to respond, right, with the undercut.
Yep, classic tactics. Our source detailed it. Piastri pitted on lap 14, Norris on lap 15, trying to use fresh tires to jump Leclerc when he eventually pitted. But Ferrari and Leclerc read it perfectly. Leclerc reacted immediately, pitted on lap 15 as well, and crucially, came out still ahead. He defended the track position. After that, McLaren basically had to commit to their two-stop plan, hoping maybe Leclerc's tires would fall off a cliff. But they didn't. Leclerc just controlled the race from the front, brought it home on that single stop. Brilliant drive, brilliant strategy.
So what's the big takeaway from 2024 then, beyond Leclerc's fantastic win?
Well, it proved pretty conclusively that a one-stop can win at Monza. It's viable. It really highlighted that super fine balance between managing your tires, maintaining track position, and having the right strategy call, even on a track known mostly for speed. It showed how those small moments like the first lap clash or nailing the pit stop timing can completely decide the outcome. You can bet every team has studied that race intensely preparing for this year. They know a well-executed one-stop is potentially the winning strategy.
Okay, that sets the stage nicely. Let's look ahead to Monza 2025 then. Pirelli tires, track conditions, weather. What's the outlook according to our source? Starting with the tires, C3, C4, C5 compounds.
Right, so that's the medium, C3, soft, C4, and super soft, C5 from Pirelli's range. It suggests they see Monza as moderately demanding on tires. It gives teams flexibility. C3 for durability, C5 for pure pace and quality or short stints, C4 as the versatile middle ground. Our source's analysis backs this up. Traction demands are rated 3 out of 5. So important out of the chicanes, but not extreme. Tire stress also 3 out of 5. So the tires get worked, but it's not like, say, Silverstone where they take a constant pounding.
So manageable stress. What about lateral loads, sideways forces?
Minimal, apparently. which makes sense for Monza. Lots of straights, not many long, high-G corners, putting sustained load through the tires laterally. The real stress, as our source points out, is on the brakes. Huge braking events from over 300, maybe 350 kilometers down to crawling speeds through the chicanes. So it's a massive test for the brake suppliers. Brembo, Carbon Industries, maybe even more than for Pirelli. Drivers will be pushing those braking points, risking lockups, flat spots. It's critical.
Right, brakes are key. And what about the track surface itself? Does it change much over the weekend?
Yeah, significantly. Track evolution is rated 4 out of 5. That means as more rubber goes down from all the sessions, F1, F2, F3, the grip level just keeps increasing. Plus, the track was resurfaced relatively recently, so the asphalt itself has good grip, rated 4 out of 5 overall. Our source called the conditions perfect for racing. High grip, improving track, means drivers can really push. One thing to watch, though, with all the support races, the track off the main racing line might get quite dusty, quite dirty. Go offline for an overtake, and you could suddenly find yourself struggling for grip.
Okay, good point about the offline grip. Now, the million-dollar question. The weather. What did our source say when they were recording?
Well, good news, seemingly. The forecast they had showed clouds around for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But crucially, no rain expected, 0 precipitation. Temperatures looking pleasant too, maxing out around 27 degrees Celsius. So continued summer weather near Milan. Our source sounded pretty relieved, actually. Dry conditions mean a straightforward assessment of car performance, no rain-induced chaos scrambling the strategies. Looks like perfect racing weather.
So, dry, good grip, manageable tire stress. What does that combo mean for the race we're likely to see? How does it shape the strategies?
Well, it leans things towards potentially aggressive strategies. Teams might feel more confident attempting a one-stop, like Leclerc last year. Or maybe they'll push harder on each stint knowing the tires can take it, less worry about sudden degradation cliffs. It probably means very close racing. Small differences in car setup, driver execution, pit stop speed, they all get magnified when the conditions are stable like this. It really puts the emphasis on pure performance and perfect execution. Should be a proper fight based on pace and strategy.
All right, sounds like a fascinating technical picture. Now let's get into the teams, the juicy stuff. Post Zandvoort, heading to Monza. Lots of stories bubbling up. Let's start with Alpine. Franco Colapinto, he had his best race yet at Zandvoort, didn't he?
He really did. A strong performance, especially, as our source highlighted, considering that really harsh public criticism he got from Flavio Briatore just before.
Yeah, that sounded brutal. Briatore basically saying he wasn't happy, maybe promoted too early, didn't know what to do with him.
Exactly. That's immense pressure for any driver, let alone a rookie. To have that hanging over you, it could break you, or, like we saw, maybe it just fired him up. Our guide also mentioned a bit of tension during the race, something Colapinto himself talked about. Maybe around team orders, letting Gasly by. He did say later they needed to learn to work as a team.
Always tricky, that teammate dynamic, especially under scrutiny. And Monza holds special meaning for Colapinto too, right?
Yeah, it kind of closes a circle, as our source put it. It's almost exactly a year since he made his F1 debut, right here at Monza in 2024, stepping in after Logan Sargent's crash in the Netherlands. So it's a big milestone for him, a chance to show how far he's come in 12 months.
That's a great storyline. And he might have a little secret weapon too. Our source mentioned he tested an Alpine at Monza earlier this year.
That's right, a 2023 car. And apparently he outperformed another driver, Polaron, in both qualifying and race simulations during that test. Any extra track time at Monza, even in an older car, has got to be valuable. Just refamiliarizing yourself with those braking points, the curbs, the flow. It could give him a small but significant edge heading into the weekend. Definitely something to watch.
Okay, interesting. Next team, Haas. Monza feels a bit like a home race for them, doesn't it? With the Maranello base and the Ferrari engines.
Yeah, it definitely has that local feel for Haas. And they're coming off an incredible result at Zandvoort with Oliver Burman. Started from the pit lane, they took a new engine after a bad qualifying, and he drove all the way up to 6th. His best ever F1 result, and a record high for Haas, too.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Our source joked it was down to the power of friendship with Ocon after some on-track moments, but seriously, it was a mega drive.
6th from the pit lane is outstanding. Shows what Burman can do. So the big question, can Haas repeat that kind of performance at Monza?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Monza is such a different beast to Zandvoort. Yes, the Ferrari power unit should be a plus on those long straights, but Monza demands such a specific low-drag aero package. Can they find that efficiency without losing too much stability in the chicanes? Haas can be quick when the track suits them. If they nail the setup and Burman keeps up that form, points are possible, but consistency at a unique track like Monza. That'll be the challenge.
Okay, on to Sauber. They had a good run going, scoring points consistently, but that ended at Zandvoort.
Yeah, a shame for them. Their impressive six-race scoring streak was broken, and it cost them dearly in the championship. They dropped to 8th, losing ground, especially with Hadjar getting that podium for Racing Bulls worth 15 points. Our source made a really interesting point about this. Sauber has scored consistently. Hulkenberg even got a podium at Silverstone, yet they're still down in P8. It just shows how incredibly tight and competitive that midfield is this year. There's just no margin for error. A single bad weekend can really hurt you in the standings.
It really does underline the intensity of that battle. So, what are Sauber's hopes for Monza?
Well, like Haas, they've got that Ferrari engine in the back. So they're hoping for, as our source put it, a new roulette, basically, hoping the engine gives them a power advantage on the straights. Monza should suit the power unit. If they can combine decent straight-line speed with a car that handles the curves well through the chicanes, they could bounce back. They've shown they can grab points when opportunities arise. Monza might be one of those opportunities.
Right, let's talk Racing Bulls. Definitely the team making headlines after Zandvoort. Isaac Hadjar's podium created a big problem, our source joked.
Yeah, a good problem to have for Hadjar. That podium has massively boosted his stock within Red Bull. Helmut Marko is apparently completely enamored with him now.
Right.
It puts him firmly in the conversation for bigger things, potentially. Oh, and a fun side note from our source. Hadjar's podium trophy broke during the celebrations, but the organizers are giving him a new one and letting him keep the broken one too, so he gets 2 souvenirs from his big day.
That's pretty cool. A broken trophy as a memento. But it wasn't just Hadjar in the spotlight. Liam Lawson had a tough time.
Yeah, Lawson got penalized at Zandvoort, even though he felt he was pushed off track. He was pretty blunt about it, called it a bit of a pain. Admitted the rules felt unfair, but, you know, it is what it is. He also sounded a bit disappointed that Carlos Sainz apparently went public with comments before speaking to him directly. Always awkward, that stuff. And importantly, that Zandvoort result, Hadjar P3, Lawson penalized, means Hadjar is now 15 points ahead in the championship. That definitely ramps up the pressure in their internal battle, potentially for that Red Bull seat, if Lawson was ever truly in the running for 2025. Hadjar's performance has certainly shaken things up.
So this enamorment from Helmut Marko towards Hadjar, that's potentially huge, right?
Oh, absolutely. Marko's opinion carries immense weight in the Red Bull world. Our source highlighted his comments. Marko called Hadjar different from the rest, praised how calm he was under pressure from Russell and Leclerc, said he did nothing wrong in the incidents. Marko even sort of brushed off Hadjar's Friday engine issues, apparently recounting how Hadjar just said, "I have the speed, I will qualify in the top 5. Our source felt Marko presenting it that way was a bit simplistic, but maybe revealing of how impressed Marko was by Hadjar's confidence. When Marko singles a driver out like that, you pay attention. It could definitely accelerate Hadjar's career path.
Wow, okay. Big implications there. Let's shift to Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso sounded furious after Zandvoort. Team principal Mike Crack confirmed it.
Yep, Crack basically said Alonso was angry with the world, with us, and with everyone. It sounds like a combination of things went wrong. Strategy calls, getting unlucky with the timing of a safety car right after they pitted, just general frustration with how the race unfolded. Crack's quote, "Angry with the race, angry with the world, angry with us, and angry with everything," really paints a picture of Alonso's mood. Not a happy camp.
And it wasn't just the strategy or luck. The car's performance seemed to vanish between Friday and the race. What happened there?
Yeah, that was a big puzzle. Pace looked okay on Friday, then fell off a cliff for quali and the race. Our source explained it was down to them having to raise the car's ride height as a precaution. Apparently, after Lance Stroll had a couple of crashes and Alonso had limited running, they didn't have enough data to be confident about floor plank wear. To avoid getting disqualified like Ferrari did in China for excessive plank wear, they had to lift the car up. Running higher obviously kills aerodynamic performance, so they sacrificed pace to play it safe. Shows how easily a weekend can unravel due to lack of data.
Okay, so bearing that Zandvoort struggle in mind, what about Monza? It's traditionally seen as a tough track for Aston, similar to Spa, where aero efficiency is key.
That's the conventional wisdom, yes. Low drag efficiency hasn't always been their strong suit compared to, say, Red Bull or McLaren. However, our source floats an interesting counter theory, a potential trick for Aston at Monza. The idea is that Monza is so extreme in its low downforce demands, it might actually help Aston. If their car naturally doesn't produce huge amounts of drag when they run skinny wings, and if the track doesn't demand massive downforce overall, except maybe through Lesmos and Ascari, then maybe their inherent straight-line speed characteristics could come to the fore. Prioritizing top speed over cornering G might actually suit them better here than in a track like Spa, which has more high-load corners mixed in. It's a fascinating thought. Could Monza paradoxically be less bad for them? We'll have to see.
That is an intriguing angle. Okay, Williams next. Alex Albon, a mixed weekend for him at Zandvoort. Strong Sunday, but maybe tougher before that.
Yeah, it sounds like Sunday salvaged it, but overall, maybe not their smoothest weekend. But look at Albon's season overall. He's doing an incredible job. Our source highlighted he's tied with Kimi Antonelli on 64 points for P7 in the championship. Think about that, ahead of Lewis Hamilton currently. It just shows how consistently he's dragging performance out of that Williams, especially when the track suits it and things click. He's been a real standout.
Definitely punching above the car's weight sometimes. And Williams team boss James Vowles had something to say about the Sainz penalty at Zandvoort, too.
Yeah, Vowles apparently called it, at best, a racing incident, clearly signaling he didn't fully agree with the stewards penalizing Sainz. Just another example of how tight those calls can be. More importantly, Vowles sounded really optimistic about the upcoming races. He specifically named Monza and Baku as the best circuits for the car. He reckons they have a genuinely competitive package now, capable of fighting properly in the midfield, and they're aiming to hang on to that 5th place in the Constructors. If Monza really does suit their low-drag philosophy, Williams could be a serious threat for big points.
Okay, Williams to watch then. Now, Red Bull, and a really interesting behind-the-scenes story about Yuki Tsunoda from Zandvoort. He scored points, but our source says he did it the hard way.
Yeah, this is fascinating detail dug up by our source. Tsunoda drove the final part of the Zandvoort race stuck in the wrong engine map. Apparently, the rules only let you change maps under specific conditions: pit lane, engine off, or if it's raining. Yuki seemingly forgot to switch from the start pit exit map back to the main driving map after his pit stop, and once he was back out, the system locked him out. He couldn't change it on the fly.
Wow, so he was stuck in a lower performance mode. What did that actually mean for his driving? That sounds like a massive handicap.
Huge. Our source explained he was dealing with a flat power curve, particularly between 10% and 40% throttle. Imagine trying to get power down smoothly out of slow corners. The car would have felt sluggish, unresponsive, just not delivering the torque he expected in that crucial range. It would have forced him to completely change his driving style. Different braking points, different lines, maybe different gear choices just to compensate. The fact he still managed to bring it home in the points, his first point since Imola apparently, while dealing with that fundamental technical issue, that's seriously impressive. It shows incredible adaptability and mental strength.
That's amazing he still scored points like that. Okay, moving to Mercedes. Big news, sort of, coming out of Zandvoort regarding their 2025 drivers.
Yeah, not quite a formal press release, but Toto Wolff basically confirmed it to the media after the race. He said Kimi Antonelli and George Russell will be their lineup for 2025. His words were something like, they would continue with both, of course.
Yeah.
So that ends all the speculation, especially about who replaces Hamilton. It cements Antonelli's place alongside Russell.
Right. And Wolff also commented on Antonelli's, let's say, aggressive move that took out Leclerc at Zandvoort.
He did, and it was quite revealing. He praised Antonelli's aggression. He said something like, I was thinking, what if Kimi overtook a Ferrari? Italian fans would be happy. They want an Italian driver who fights, pushes, sometimes beyond the limit. And he finished with, when the visor comes down, you have a monster, and that's what we want. Now, our source did kind of wryly note that maybe Italian fans don't want someone taking out a Ferrari driver.
Yeah, fair point.
But Wolff's message was clear. Mercedes likes that fighting spirit, that aggression in Antonelli, even if it occasionally leads to incidents. They want that monster mentality. It sets the tone for what they expect from him.
Okay, speaking of Ferrari, Monza. It's the home race. Huge pressure, huge passion, and this year's extra special.
Absolutely. Beyond the usual Tifosi madness, this year marks the 50th anniversary of Niki Lauda winning the 1975 F1 title for Ferrari, and he clinched it right there at Monza in the legendary 312T car. That's a massive piece of Ferrari history, connecting Lauda's legacy to the current team at Monza. It adds another layer of emotion and significance to the weekend.
And they're marking it visually, too. We've seen blue team kit, like, in Miami.
Yeah, the blue apparel is out already. And our source expects Ferrari to unveil a special car livery for Monza, inspired by Lauda's red and white 312T. That'll look amazing, undoubtedly. The fans will absolutely love it.
Should be spectacular. But it's not all smooth sailing for Ferrari heading into their home race. Lewis Hamilton has a grid penalty.
Yeah, talk about tough timing. His first Italian GP as a Ferrari driver at Monza, celebrating Lauda, and he starts with a 5-place grid drop. This stems from Zandvoort after that messy weekend where Ferrari had a double-zero score, partly due to Hamilton's own accident. The penalty itself was for speeding under double yellow flags.
Okay, speeding under yellows. What were the specifics? Our source got the details from the stewards. It was originally 10 places.
That's right. It was initially a 10-place penalty. The stewards looked at the telemetry from Zandvoort, so this was during a recon lap or a pit exit, under double yellows in the final corner. Hamilton apparently only slowed by about 20 kilometers, lifted the throttle maybe 10–20%, and braked only 70 meters before the pit entry line. The stewards deemed that just wasn't enough deceleration for double yellows.
So why only 5 places in the end?
Because, according to the steward's notes cited by our source, Hamilton at least made a gesture of braking.
Yeah.
He did something, even if it wasn't enough. Our source also speculated, maybe cynically, maybe realistically, that the stewards might have been a bit reluctant to slap a full 10-place penalty on Hamilton for his first race at Monza in Ferrari colors. A bit of unspoken leniency, perhaps. Who knows? As for Leclerc's Zandvoort race ending early, our source just noted he was simply the unlucky victim of Antonelli's move. Antonelli did apparently go to the Ferrari motorhome afterwards to apologize, which is good for him.
Right. Good gesture from Antonelli. Okay, last team, McLaren.
Zandvoort was tough for them, especially Lando Norris, his first mechanical retirement of the year.
Yeah, and what terrible timing. Our source called it the worst possible situation for Lando's championship fight, especially against his teammate. Piastri finished well. Norris got 0 points. That means Piastri now has a 34-point lead over Norris with 9 races left. That's a significant gap to claw back.
Ouch. And what was the mechanical issue? Andrea Stella, the team boss, gave some clues.
Stella confirmed it was chassis-related, not an issue with the Mercedes power unit. McLaren took full responsibility. He said they'd identified a problem in the chassis area and needed a full investigation before Monza. That suggests it's something fundamental to the car's structure or systems, not just the engine.
Chassis-related. That's a bit vague. Did our source manage to get any more specific insights into what might have failed? They did piece together some info, likely from sources like the race, combined with what was observed. The theory is that a small component failure caused an oil leak somewhere in the chassis area. This leak triggered safety sensors, which then shut the engine down automatically to prevent major damage. It was likely an oil line could be engine oil, could be gearbox oil running from a tank to the power unit. Maybe vibrations caused it to work loose, oil started leaking, maybe burning slightly, and the safety systems kicked in. Better a shutdown than a catastrophic engine failure, which would definitely mean big grid penalties for Monza. So, silver linings, maybe. But still a costly DNF.
Wow, so much going on with every single team. It's incredible. Okay, let's quickly run through the schedule for the Monza weekend so everyone knows when to tune in. Our source provided the times. It's back to a standard schedule, right?
Yep, normal European times, unlike Zandvoort's slightly shifted schedule. So Friday, September 5th, free practice 1, FP1, is at 1:30 p.m. local time. Pre-shows on channels like F1 Blogs will start around 1:15 p.m. Then free practice 2, FP2, is later on Friday at 5:00 p.m. with pre-shows from about 4:45 p.m.
Got it. And Saturday.
Saturday, September 6th, final practice, FP3, is at 12:30 p.m., pre-show 12:15 p.m. Then the big one, qualifying, starts at 4:00 p.m. Pre-shows for quali will likely kick off around 3:30 p.m. Getting that pull at Monza is huge.
Absolutely. And Sunday's race.
Sunday, September 7th, the Formula 1 Pirelli Gran Premio d'Italia 2025 starts at 3:00 p.m. local time. The big pre-race shows on Twitch, YouTube, places like F1 Blogs, they'll start building the atmosphere from 2:30 p.m. And yeah, our source, F1 Blogs, mentioned they're doing live updates from their road trip too, and filming reports from Monza itself, which will be out later, so plenty of content to follow.
Fantastic. Well, what an incredible deep dive that was. We've gone from Monza's legendary history and unique layout through the drama of 2024. We've looked at the Pirelli tires, the weather, the strategies, and unpacked all those fascinating team and driver stories coming out of Zandvoort. Hamilton's penalty, Hajar's rise, Tsunoda's secret engine map struggle, Aston's potential trick, Williams' hopes. It's just packed with intrigue. Monza feels set to be absolutely extraordinary this year.
It really does. So many converging storylines, so much at stake at such an iconic venue. The Temple of Speed rarely disappoints, does it? Every session feels important.
And a big thanks again to our source material for this, that comprehensive guide from the F1 Blog's YouTube channel. Recording those insights while literally driving to the track gave us such a fresh perspective. As they wrapped up their own guide, F1 Blogs encouraged everyone to follow their social channels, Twitch, YouTube for all the live updates from their tour and the race weekend itself. Definitely worth checking out if you want that close to the action feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Creators like that who are right there on the ground bring an invaluable perspective. It really adds depth to following the sport.
So after all that, here's the big question for you listening right now. Considering everything we've discussed, Monza's history, the tire strategy, the specific car setups, the pressure on the drivers, all those individual stories, what single factor do you think will be the ultimate decider? What will win the Italian Grand Prix this year?
And maybe think about this too. How could one unexpected moment, a bold strategy call that pays off or backfires spectacularly, a flash of driver brilliance, or maybe even a tiny technical issue like Tsunoda had, how could something like that completely change the race or even shift the momentum of the entire season, starting right here at this legendary track?
Lots to ponder. We hope you feel fully informed, totally prepped, and as excited as we are for what should be a truly epic race weekend at Monza. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.